you just sat through all 12 minutes of Isekai Quartet, and I definitely have autism now.
My autism was cured, I think. Isekai Quartet is a show that's, you described it as like being almost like Teen Titans Go in concept.
Yes.
It's chibified versions.
It's if Teen Titans Go was every isekai ever.
And also dog shit, which I know a lot of people think Teen Titans Go is, but they're wrong. This show is KonoSuba, Saga of Tanya the Evil, Overlord, and ReZero. All of the main cast of those shows all get isekai'd into one high school together. And the first half of this episode is about how KonoSuba is better than Overlord. That is like the plot of the first half of the episode. And the second half of the episode is about how I have no desire to watch a show featuring the cast of Saga of Tanya the Evil and ReZero. That's how I would describe my experience. What was your experience with this? You kept slamming your head into things.
Oh boy, it was really obnoxious. My favorite part of the show, not really, is that most of it was just the characters from the original shows interacting within the universe of their own show and not taking advantage of the fact that they're all in one scenario together.
Yeah.
It's just like they've all grouped off into their own cliques, so you'll just have like the cast of Overlord wasting
Overlord.
5 minutes of just being a bad Overlord or being a...
Well, I mean, it was just like watching Overlord. I mean, the first, like, the very beginning of this show, the very first thing is KonoSuba, and it's just a scene with all of the characters just saying the same lines that they would be saying at the start of an episode of KonoSuba. So I was just like, oh, I know that thing. And then I went to Overlord, and I was like, oh, I don't know this thing. And I assume that from this point forward, they will interact as, like, this was just to kind of reestablish the attitude of each show. They
have interacted, but it gave me no hope that the interactions would have any... that it'd be funny, that it'd be something that I'd want to see. Like, I was originally kind of like, oh, this could be neat. But,
it could have been funny if right off the bat they were just, like, playing off the ridiculousness of these shows being combined.
No, instead they just wanted to make it as obnoxious as possible.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
It was really...
Mission accomplished.
It was so bizarre because, like, KonoSuba, the strength of the show is that the four main characters are really fun, they have great chemistry, they bounce off of each other well, and you love to watch them, you know?
That is not the case for ReZero,
right.
Tanya the Evil, or I've never seen Overlord. No interest in seeing Overlord.
I mean, it says everything that when they are doing the KonoSuba scenes, it feels... I mean, I want to say it feels like the show, but it's just because, like, most of the dialogue is ripped straight from the show. It's just the same jokes that would be done in the show. But, like... The idea of this episode is that, or the first half, is that these magic buttons appeared in each character's world, and all of them ended up pressing the button for some reason, which sent them to this place.
Isekai'd again.
So in the case of KonoSuba, the button shows up, and right away Aqua wants to press it. Kazuma's trying to drag her away. He's like, Megumin, be the voice of reason. And she's like, oh, you know, of course we should think about these situations. And in this situation, I think we press the button. And she presses it. You know, that's like, there's some character going on there. In Overlord, it's just a meeting of the guy sitting in his chair with all of his vassals kneeling before him. And they're
None
like,
of them
Sir,
have any personality
that all.
is apparent.
At all. And they're just like, sir, we found this button. And he's like,
They also look awful.
Let us consider how we are going to strategically handle this button. And I'm like, this is exactly why Overlord is boring. Because it's just them sitting around talking about shit and talking about their plans to do with shit. Because I've seen the first episode and a half of Overlord, and it was all exactly like what was in this episode. Just like a bunch of people sitting around, like all of the vassals of the Overlord just like suck his dick all day. Like, even harder than Slime Isekai. Like, it's even more of just, like, everyone just worships this dude and he just sits around and makes plans for things, you know?
Is it supposed to be funny?
No, it's not a comedy show. It's just like a tactical...
Is this supposed to be funny?
I have no idea. I mean, the Saga of Tanya the Evil part at least seemed like it was meant to be a comedic take on the show. Like, I don't know enough about the show to know exactly who, like, the scientist character was or whatever, but it was like Tanya was testing out this... some kind of thing, and she'd been, like, catapulted through the air and had a button that she's supposed to press, but the other button had appeared in her other hand. And she's like, what do I do? There's 2 buttons. And, like, I enjoy listening to Yuki Aoi scream, so that was entertaining enough for me as a huge fan of the voice actress. But, like, it didn't tell me anything about the show or who the hell all these other characters were. But at least it was, like, making a joke out of it. Overlord just felt like you were watching Overlord, and I wanted to nope out. And then the ReZero characters show up, and they're just, like, they're just there. They're just, like, having a conversation as they enter the room. There's nothing funny about it.
I think there's too many characters. They would have probably been better off just picking the most popular characters from each franchise and putting them in a more creative scenario instead of just in a school, which they did nothing with in this episode. It was just an excuse to have them.
I mean, in fairness, it's a 12-minute episode, and all of this was just establishing. Like, all it did was set up the concept of the show. But, like, literally how enjoyable it was depended entirely on which show was on screen. Which the metric here, we're talking, like, KonoSuba, which was the best parts, was, like, a really watered-down, redundant, like, repetitive version of the same thing you get from the show.
It was like the worst parts of the second season.
Yeah.
But that was the best part.
Yeah. I have no desire to watch any more of this. As somebody who can't stand 3/4 of the shows that are in this, I can't. I've seen all of ReZero, and I thought it was extremely mediocre. I didn't care about it at all. I did a whole Plebe and the Weeb on it, if you haven't seen that. I watched the first episode and a half of Overlord. I talked about that back at the time. I think we did a Finish or Fail on Tanya the Evil, and we dropped it, like, less than an episode in.
Although I have watched 3 episodes of the show before.
Oh, that's right. You had seen part of it. What did you think of that? Did you never recognize any of those other characters? Like,
yeah, I recognized the cute Moe sidekick girl.
Does she have any personality in the show?
More than was portrayed in this.
Well, they didn't, like, have any speaking lines
I mean,
in this.
would I watch the show? Probably not. It's an interesting concept, just not executed that well.
No, this show looks better than that show, and this show is hideous. Well, yeah, I don't particularly care to watch any more of this.
Harakawa, go fuck yourself.
I think we can all get behind that message. We just watched the first episode of Sarazanmai. It was probably one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. That was crazy and awesome and unexpected and creative.
This is the latest from Kunihiko
Holy
Ikuhara,
shit.
the guy who brought us in escalating levels of insanity, Revolutionary Girl Utena, Mawaru Penguin Drum, Yurikuma Arashi, and now this. And the first episodes of each of his shows have managed to be shocking in spite of the fact that I've already seen the previous one. You haven't seen the first episode of Yurikuma, but you have seen Mawaru Penguin Drum. Mm-hmm. Did this remind you of that experience? That feeling when you first survival strategy and then, like, everything is suddenly completely insane?
Yeah.
This show is like that, but it happens, like, a third of the way through. And you're just like, alright!
It just keeps coming, too.
It don't stop coming, and it don't stop coming. Holy fucking shit. I mean, where do you begin? Like, this is definitely a show that I can't summarize my thoughts about in this way at all. Like, I'd have to watch this episode 5 times to parse everything that's going on.
Unpack. everything.
All the
has
boxes. There's the hundreds of boxes
Yeah.
to unpack. Well, what's great about this, and I would say that this has increasingly been the case with each of Ikuhara's works, is that it simultaneously is beating you over the head with the point. Like, it's not unclear at all what this show is about. It's like, boxes are desires. This is a show about your desires and your inner secrets, the things you are trying to keep hidden from the world, the deepest depths of your personality. It's like, that is not in any way obscure. It is very clear. However, it's almost as though the show screams its point at you over and over again, so that as it shows you all this insane fucking imagery, you have somewhere to start. You know?
Yeah, a
like,
little bit.
If the show wasn't literally beating you over the head with the point, you would have very little grounding. Like, no legs to stand on with what the fuck is going on with the imagery and symbolism. But because of the fact that you get that central point, from there you can do this sort of outward spiral into, okay, well, how does all this connect to that point? You know, like, what does the anus have to do with desire, I wonder, in a show with what I assume are going to be some gay characters, since I think that's how this was sort of pitched.
Yeah. I mean, if that wasn't already, at least...
Well, one of them is at least a cross-dresser. I don't know if he's trans or anything, but because it's implied that he's doing it for someone else's sake.
For a girl.
A little girl, I guess. I don't know what his relationship is with her. That's yet to be revealed, but
he wants to have the connection, but he wants to do it on the terms that he is putting on this persona.
Yeah.
So she's in the OP. I assume that she'll
much fucking
get a
shit
lot of
happened in
coverage.
this episode. The animation at times, particularly the cut where the Kappa first sucks his ass out, is one of the best animation cuts I've seen in a while. I like the like, I guess, transformation, I would call it.
Yeah.
Of him, like, eating this guy through the ass and then, like, becoming him and then shitting him out all in one, like, deft motion. There's definitely some shit I'm assuming we're going to see in every episode, like the scene of them all surfing on the big wave, which had the coolest fucking aesthetic of the, like, all the different shades of blue, like, spinning around in that wave.
Yeah.
We're probably going to see that every single episode, knowing Ikuhara. This is an Ikuhara show down to the bones. Like, no doubt about it. No one would... If you had no idea that he had anything to do with this... Like, okay, Carol and Tuesday, when we watched that, there was somebody who was, like, shitting on it, saying, like, oh, if you didn't know it was Watanabe, like, would you even care? I still thought that show was fun, and I would have liked it either way. But if I had watched that show not knowing Watanabe was involved, I wouldn't have assumed it, necessarily. Mm-hmm. If I saw the first episode of this, there'd be no fucking question in my mind who made this.
It's in every scene.
It's every image, because all of it's fucking insane. Like, nothing you see in this show is something you would see anywhere else, or from any other director. And, I love all the imagery. I love all the weird-ass shit that's going on. Like, weird-ass shit. Fucking, there's, like, the colors are insane. The fucking animation's crazy.
The backgrounds are even good.
I love like, when they go to the Kappa world, and it's, like... I've seen a lot of, like, dark worlds in anime, and like most of those, it's mostly a color shift, but then there's just like these weird like bubble patches and like pink things, and all of it, I'm sure all of this serves some purpose, but what the hell is it, you know? Like, this is a show that raised a fuckload of questions that I'm excited to have answers to, if ever, you know? I'm like, I want to know what all of this is about. I want to know why that just happened. I want to know what's up with the Kapazon. The mere thought that, like, Amazon or a parody thereof is, like, a major part of this show is really exciting to me. You know, seeing as they're sort of the biggest company in the world, and, like, they have such a huge part in everyone's lives.
Yeah.
And, like...
and obviously the
using them as a
show
metaphor
has
is great.
something to say about it.
Yeah.
Something to do with that iconography, and it's really interesting to see something like
the more boxes
so
you
trendy.
have, the happier you are.
Yeah.
I just want more. I want to know everything. Right. I'm even more excited about this one than I was about Yurikuma, which I still haven't finished, nor have I finished Maru Penguin Drum. So maybe I'll never finish this. Who knows? But I had the biggest, stupidest smile on my face pretty much from the moment the Kappa sucked the guy's ass out. From that moment forward, I was like, well, I'm fucking sold. I'll watch this forever. Do you have any more thoughts? I can't even, put anything together in my mind. I don't know where to begin.
Oh boy, there's a lot to unpack. Like I said before, characters all seem really cool and that they can learn things from each other. They're all interesting
instant
guys.
Instant chemistry between the characters because they're so different, but they play off of each other really well. Like the one of the characters we're introduced to, doing a carjacking. He's in the middle of slamming a ruler down through the window of a car to try to unlock it. And which is a pretty extreme crime for a main character to be committing in a show for their introduction. And I got the sense that both of the other two guys knew the glasses kid, because he knew the one kid's name. So I assume they both know him, but they don't know each other.
Yeah.
So that's
we'll know more about that.
Yeah, it was an interesting dynamic. We only really learned about two. It's crazy that I feel like because what the show revealed about these characters were such intimate details, it felt like I knew them even though they had very little speaking time or really time to do anything because there was so much insanity going on. Really early into the episode, they, all the Kappa shit goes, I don't even know how to describe it. Did they get powers? They get turned into Kappas, but they turn back. I don't know. I literally don't know what the fuck is going to happen in this show. I have no fucking idea where this is going at all. I'm just very down for the ride. But, what little we learned about the characters is stuff that is interesting, you know? So, I immediately want to know more about them and about this world and what the fuck is going on and what is Kappazon truly. Why are all these Kappa zombie ghosts or whatever flying around carrying boxes, which is apparently happening. In the real world, people are perceiving mass amounts of flying boxes.
It's the drone delivery service.
Oh my god. Like I said, I'd have to watch this a number of times before I could get into the bones of it. And even then, I don't want to say anything because I don't know what, there's so much additional meaning that could come out of more. You know, there's a lot of things that I could obviously say, oh, box, you know, box is kind of it's a term that is also used to refer to your ass. So, there's a clear connection between the anal stuff and the boxes.
I didn't even think about that.
There's the fact... I had to think that when the Kappas shoot water at the bad... They're fighting a giant box, basically, and they shoot water at it and it's melting the cardboard, which made me think that's probably how they came up with the idea of using Kappas. Because if the theme of the show was boxes, what is a box's weakness? Water. Oh, Kappas shoot water. This makes sense. I have to assume it came about something like that. But, there's a lot of prevalent water imagery when they're surfing on the water, so I don't know what all that could mean exactly. I know it will all have some purpose, whether that is extremely vague or not, but it's not so much about a lot of people, you know, might not understand this when they talk about Utena, for instance. If I were to talk about how Utena is deep, it's not deep because it has tons of symbolism. The symbolism is just a garnish. It is just to make it so every part of the experience feeds into the message, you know? Right. So it's not as though you're going to study these images and suddenly the show means something entirely different.
It's not hieroglyphics.
Right. It's more that having all that imagery reinforces the message, and it allows you to view it through different lenses. It allows you to say, oh, well, this could be a metaphor for the experience of being gay and being in the closet, or this could be a metaphor for the experience of different, other sexualities, or just all kinds of things are obvious metaphors, but it's not necessarily about any of those things. It just includes that imagery so that you can connect those things to this central theme, so that you can see sort of a preview of all the different ways that this message could be interpreted for different individuals, and how we all can relate to this thing, through one way or another, which is why it's cool that they do all that. But also just because the sheer imaginativeness of it is like, well, this is how this person interprets this particular drama. Like, this is how Ikuhara chose to portray this central theme, and nobody else would do it that way, and that's what makes it exciting, is that it's like, it's the opposite of generic, even though the theme is universal. It's something that's been explored in plenty of media, but the question is, like, if you're going to explore the same theme, which you always are, because there's only so many themes that humans can relate to, then show me what that theme means to you, And this is very much a, like, one person's interpretation of this theme, taken to the far extreme of their imagination. And that's what I want from anime.
High art.
Yes, it's unibrow art, combining the high and low very deftly. Indeed. Can't wait for more. Definitely my favorite thing we've watched so far.
Go fucking watch it right now.
Cured the headache I got from Isekai Quartet.
It was very enjoyable, very exciting.
Should we watch some other bullshit to ruin our good mood?
Yeah, let's do it up.
Hey, we just watched the first episode of Sewayaki Kitsune no Senko-san. Or I think Helpful Kitsune Senko-san. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts about this first. Before I start.
The show had everything I love in it. A cute little fox girl. Kind of a hard-working, troubled soul. And lots of pampering, and lots of love, and lots of food that looked delicious. Cute sounds. It was a good time.
Are you prepared to accept the
fact? If you don't like the show, it's fine. I literally only like the show because it just happens to be what I like.
Are you prepared to accept the fact that liking this show makes you a furry?
No, because they're demigods.
I thought this show was morally bad.
That's fine. I understand. I am ashamed. I'm not gonna lie and say that
I won't even say
I'm
I think
above this show.
I don't even think it's like I don't know if it's a bad show. Like, in terms of being what it... Okay, so this is an Iyashikei show where a guy who's on the verge of workplace death, the common condition of the Japanese man, he's teetering on the edge of the platform, so to speak. And there's this cabal of fox goddesses who are like... I guess their job is they just go and make people fucking feel better. So this magical fox lolly just shows up in this guy's apartment and starts pampering him. I would say the tagline of this show ought to be, you just have to enjoy the pampering. Because that's what she keeps saying, yes. Right? This... First of all, my immediate thought is, okay, this is another show trying to sell otaku on getting a wife, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's been a bunch of these shows that are trying to, like, sell you on how badly you need a woman in your life. And I don't even disagree with the notion or even the way it's presented. Because I would say that in many ways, what this fox goddess offers is exactly what you offer me. A lot of these exact...
I'd hope so. This is like the ideal
Yeah.
The ideal.
It's just that it's so idealized that it will help no one. Like
It's fantasy escapism.
But like it's the kind of escapism that I feel like would just make you more depressed because there's no way this would happen. Like there is no fox deity watching you from a cloud who is... Okay, first of all, she's an 800-year-old god. She has no downsides. Like, she has nothing else to do with her time.
She even said so. She said nobody's perfect, and I have
flaws, and I've had 800. Yeah, show me one. Find a fucking flaw. Like, where is the flaw? Like, she literally is here for no purpose but to pamper this guy and fix his soul hurt, you know? And she's good at it. Like, most shows of this nature, the joke would be that she tries to be like a helpful housewife, but she's bumbling and she kind of makes things worse. However, just the fact that there are good things about her is enough to make the guy feel marginally better, right? Like, that would be like a comedy version of this show. But this is not a comedy. It's just like a very soothing iyashikei. It's just, she's just taking care of him, you know? Even though there are comedic beats, but like, okay, this is based on a 4-koma, and it was like, it's one of those where if you start counting out the panels, you start to be able to predict exactly where the punchlines will fall every time. Because it'll be like, punchline, and then you go, like, set up dialogue, then, like, here's the build-up, and then there's the thing. But, like, the way that the show is directed is to... It doesn't feel as... There's other shows that are way more like bam, 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 you know? This one's not quite so cut and dry. It adds a lot more space in the... Like, the dialogue takes a little bit longer. It's very slowly paced. The punchlines don't even really try to be that funny. It feels like the show is kind of trying to tone down the comedic aspect and be as slice-of-lifey as possible. But, as a result, I mean, literally it's just a soothing show about a guy being soothed by a fox deity. Like, there's nothing else to it. There is no comedic edge, there's no drama, there's no anything. It's just, watch this guy be soothed by this fox spirit. And if you're watching this, and you're in a situation like him, I have to imagine your takeaway would be, well, this is never happening to me, guess I better kill myself. Right?
I can't put myself in another's shoes.
I'm picturing
All
that...
I know is the show soothed the fuck out of me.
I'm picturing that image of the, you know how people always post...
I ain't got no fox deity to soothe me.
You know when people post the noose, and, like, in the center of the noose is, like, the anime girl, like, inviting you to come through? That's what this show feels like to me. It's like, come on. Like, come to the other side, you know? Like, I want a show that believably shows how someone like this could get into a relationship that would benefit them, and then to portray that relationship realistically, and to show that, again, you know, like, despite whatever hardships there might be, they're nonetheless better for it, you know? Something that speaks to reality in some way. Maybe that's just me. I mean, I don't know why I want realism from my soothing show. And maybe this is me speaking from a position of privilege, because I do have a wife, a waifu, to soothe my soul. But it's not so cut and dry. It's not like you just showed up and you have nothing to do but pamper me. And it's close. I mean, it's close to that. But it's not exactly like this, you know. We have other things to be stressed about.
We're getting there.
Maybe. Maybe this will be our future. Then I'll be like, oh, it is realistic.
Obviously, it's not meant to be realistic.
No. I mean, personally, I didn't find the main girl that cute. So, that kind of...
I mean, if you can't find the girl cute, you're not going to be sold on the show. I just happen to...
You like fox girls.
I really love foxes. When I was younger, I would draw and, like, I saw myself as, like, a fox girl.
Yeah, you're a furry. The white-haired one is pretty cute.
face.
She kind of looks like Shiro from No Game, No Life.
No, the main girl in the show is perfect. In
She's
every
alright.
way, shape, and form.
I like that they made her, like, only go up to his abdomen.
She's perfect.
You don't know, like, I didn't hate this show. I didn't even feel like it was hard to watch. Like, we made it through the whole first episode, and I definitely got the Iyashike feeling. Like, I could feel, like, a warmth spreading over my body. You know, like, it had the effect I think it's supposed to have, but I couldn't help feeling like if I was, like, in this guy's situation and I didn't have, like, if I wasn't watching this with you, I feel like it would have made me feel worse. But, I don't know, report in. I'm sure a lot of you feel like this guy, so let me know. Does watching our videos make you feel worse or better?
A reaction watching of the show.
Is this a soothing show for you guys? Does this let you vicariously experience having an anime waifu?
It does for me.
No, I meant this experience of watching our video. Does this give you those vibes at all? Do you think that anybody watches our show to feel the feels of that show?
I do. I bet.
I can't wait for the comments on this. I want to know how other people feel because, like, this is such a case by case. Like, again, I mean, the show is. If I'm, like, just making a quality judgment on it, I would say it's mediocre. But, like, it's not built to be an engrossing narrative. It's not built to be realistic. It's built to be soothing and to literally be like a wish fulfillment escape fantasy. And I just want to know if it actually does that for people. Like, if you watch this and come away from it like, at least I can go home and watch this show and imagine that was happening to me and feel better, or if it makes you feel like this will never happen to me and I feel worse. Because I've seen people go both ways about various shows.
It's not a realistic thing. It's an ideal. I think if you watch the show, it's just like, this is heaven. And you can take yourself out of the 3D experience and just watch it.
I guess
you don't have to think about your shitty life. I
feel this way because back when I used to watch rom-com shows, I said a popular quote from me, I think from my I Can't Understand What My Husband Is Saying video from 2014, was that I judge a romance show based on how miserable it makes me feel about not having that romance. But this
isn't a romance show.
It might be. I don't know where it's going, but
there was nothing romantic about what we saw.
I mean,
what we saw was
you're not going to tell me that him playing with her tail was not a metaphor for sexual release. It's clearly an erogenous zone.
I think, you know.
Fair enough.
It's pure. Don't you put your fucking gay romance in my in my pandering fucking Iyashike Fox Girl show.
Do you want to watch more of this show? Do you see yourself watching a second episode?
Yes.
Alright. That's the most important thing. I guess I'll mark it as watching. We'll see where this goes.
It'll be on Finish or Fail. Show. It could just stay on my watching list forever because that's what I want to do for the rest of time.
You can just pop one in whenever you need it. It's definitely
every night.
This is the Xanax of anime for sure. It's definitely an anti-anxiety program. Well, let me know what you think in the comments. I'm very curious. Like, I want this show to me is less a show and more a case study.
I feel like I just came out of the closet. I want to go back in the closet.
Oh God, let's watch another thing. All right, we watched the first episode of Yatogame-chan Kansatsu Nikki, and it was r/whoosh. What did you think?
Yeah.
It was a 3-minute episode, I guess, about a guy going to Nagoya. Well, no, he moved.
It was just shitty in Japan.
He moved to a place called Aichi, but he keeps calling it Nagoya. I don't know if it's this is too fucking Japanese for me, is the bottom line. Like, everything about this show is about this guy from Tokyo going to this part of Japan that has a very different culture, and it's all ribbing on the unique aspects of that place's culture. But as somebody for whom Japan is already a unique culture, watching someone from one alien culture make fun of the differences between theirs and another alien culture is completely... I can't understand it. Like, people kept running away from his water bottle. Like, I guess they don't drink... Do they not have water bottles in Nagoya? I don't know. I literally don't know. There's, like, a bunch of soy sauce references. Don't they eat soy sauce everywhere in Japan? What are you talking about? What did you think of this one? You were laughing at it.
There's some jokes that I, as somebody who's not very versed in Japanese culture, still thought were funny. If I was going to have to endure a show with comedy like this, I'm glad it's only 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can relate and appreciate to the idea of going someplace and making fun of how shit that place is.
I feel like I would love this show if I understood it. Like, if this was about, like, someone from, like, New York coming to, like, you know, the middle of America or something, like, having to live in, like, small town Missouri and just, like, being baffled by everything they saw, I think I would find that hilarious and with the exact same types of jokes and characters and everything, but, like, I just don't get a lot of the jokes. Like, I appreciate the idea of the humor, and there were even times I laughed just on the basis of that, but, like, it just, like, individually the jokes are so over my head that I was just like, well, this is clearly not for me, and that's fine. I'm not weeb enough. My weeb skills are not high enough to appreciate making fun of people from wherever the hell Aichi Prefecture is. Or Aichi City in Nagoya Prefecture. Like, the fact that the main character is making this mistake makes it even harder for me to know. Because, like, that's the joke, is that people from Tokyo don't know the difference. And I also don't know the difference.
Yeah.
But, like, I also don't understand his things. Well, I've made my point. Anyway, that's it for this episode. We gotta get back to fucking packing, I guess.